Let's finish creating our tabbed interface by adding the shipping fields under the shipping tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all these fields right here, with the exception of category and date of birth. We'll copy them, then switch to the shipping tab, and then paste them. We'll move them into the same spot. And now what we want to do is double click on each one of these fields and change it to the company S, the name first S, and so on. To make that even easier, we're going to go into Manage Database, and we're going to change this from creation order to field name. You'll see that when we're in field name alphabetical order, address 1 and address 1 shipping are right next to each other. This will make it much easier when we're changing the fields. If it was in creation order, we double click on it, we'd be selected on address 1, and then we'd have to scroll all the way down and choose address 1S. So field name is much easier, and remember, whatever change you make to view by inside of Manage Database is reflected in all other dialogues that display fields. So if you're having a problem finding a field, it may be in creation order, which was helping you in some other situation, but now you want it, to do type ahead and you want to be able to quickly get to a field. Well, you need to have it in field name order, and I usually try to keep it there, but if it's not, come back into Manage Database, then go back to your dialog, and it'll be in alphabetical order. So we'll click OK. We'll double click on company. And you notice something interesting happens if you're used to FileMaker 10 or earlier. When we double clicked on it, it not only brought up the specify field, but also brought up our inspector. So we could change the field by going to here and scrolling down one and choosing company S, and then clicking OK. But you also notice that it opened the inspector. It also chose a particular tab for us, the data tab. The inspector is chosen through this interface right here. The reason it opened this up is because it's actually much easier to make these changes through this interface. We can click on the field and then click on this little icon right here, scroll down, and then we can go on to the next one. And it may not be that much easier, but it's getting used to the inspector at the very least. And we can go through and show you how this works. Click on that, click on the little pencil, address 2S, and keep going through all these fields until you have them all changed. And if you want to make things easier, well, you can go ahead and still double click on these if you want. And in fact, if you like this better, you can double click on this and do it this way. There's many ways to do the same thing, and that's the advantage of FileMaker. They understand that, and they give you many ways to do it. It's all based on how you work. Everybody works differently. So double check these all have an S after them. Looks good. And we're done with that, and we can get rid of our inspector for right now. Now what we're going to do is play around with the colors. You can change all the different aspects of this tab control. If you click on it and then choose a fill color, we can change it. And each tab can be changed independently. You can see this one's still gray. That's not a very good looking color, so we're going to undo that. And I don't really like to use that much color in my interfaces anyhow. Your brain can only handle a handful of colors, and when you put all these different colors on the rainbow that you have access to on your layout, it confuses people and makes it hard to understand your interface. You want to stick with color to draw your attention to a particular area. So you could change the line width, but I don't think that looks very good either. And you could even change the font color to blue. I kind of like that. We could even change the size. I'll go back down to 12. We don't need that much attention to it. But now that blue is bringing you in to those buttons there so you can see them more easily. I kind of like to use color for buttons. It's the most important thing, so you can say, oh, that's a button because it's colored. I can click on that. If you start coloring everything, then the color has no meaning at all. So try to pay attention to that. The other thing you want to do is pay attention to this other color. You can choose other color and bring up a palette, different types of palettes, depending on your operating system, and choose colors this way, not just the ones that you have under this palette here. And this happens to be the 88 color palette. If you want to, you can go to Preferences, which under the Windows operating system is under the Edit menu. Go to Preferences, and you go in here and you go to your Layout, and you'll see Color Palette. Here's a standard default 88 color palette, which is really nicely organized. Doesn't have as many choices as the 256, but I'm used to it and I like it. You can choose also the web palette, which is 216 colors, which allows you to make compatible colors with instant web publishing. So choose what you want. Play around with it and see what you like. I just personally like the 88 color palette. So there you go. There is your tabbed interface. Let's take a look at it in browse mode. And you can see now that we can go from billing to shipping very easily, and you have a lot more information in a smaller space.